and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. My voice is still missing. It is coming back though. But we are in our Rivian R1T, which we haven't made a video with this vehicle for some time now. But we're actually gonna do a lot with it over this summer. So I'm looking forward to getting this thing ready for some adventures ahead. But this video isn't really about the truck. It's about Rivian's charging network. And if you remember, we were actually part of the first people to ever plug in to the Rivian Adventure Network in Salida, Colorado. It was ourselves, Rivian Dad on YouTube, and also one other who's sort of a Rivian enthusiast. We all plugged in all three trucks at the same time. We were all the first ever to charge on the Rivian Adventure Network. And then a couple more sites came online. We've charged at them before. In Barstow, I believe we've charged at that one. And then there really hasn't been much news. I mean, Rivian had promised this massive expansion, this big network rollout, and all of us just looked at each other who know charging. We're like, this is not possible. Like the equipment, the permitting, the installations, this is going to take way longer. And truly, it is taking way longer than originally promised. But Rivian is still working to put in more charging stations. And well, one just opened up nearby our home. We're about 55 minutes away from the new Broomfield charging station. I want to go check it out. They've made some changes to how the trucks and the chargers communicate. I want to look at the installation, look at how they're running their power, and let's go take a look at some Rivian Adventure Network stuff. There are more stations seemingly coming online recently than we've ever seen. So it seems like the ramp up of charging installations is finally happening. I'll tell you how you can follow that progress. And we're of course going to go charge in Broomfield. I believe today is the first day they're open publicly. I checked on PlugShare. A few folks have already charged on it. So let's head over, try it out, plug in our truck, and see how it goes at the new Broomfield DC fast charger by Rivian. Well, we are now 2 minutes away from the Rivian Adventure Network site, and my understanding, maybe naive understanding, of the Rivian Adventure Network when it first launched was it was going to be in places to get you where you want to go in your Rivian Adventure vehicle. Salida, perfect spot right in the middle of the mountains, beautiful town, great restaurants everywhere. Go out on trailheads and really put the network in places that a typical for-profit network may not go to operate in because of reduced throughput at the base of a trail for off-roading, but it would be the reason that would sell Rivians to get us out, get us into the places we would want to go overlanding. Moab, Utah, some of the trails on the western slope of Colorado, some beautiful overlanding places in Canada and British Columbia. And the one we're heading to here in Broomfield is at the Flatiron Crossing Mall, which is not very adventurous. Also, I believe, if I remember correctly, there's an Electrify America charging station already here in this parking lot. So what adventure is this charging station enabling if I could already bring my truck here and charge up? Look, don't get me wrong, I don't want to complain about new stations. I want to complain about this dude stopping in the middle of the road. But it just seems like a waste of resources, I think, to put a charging station in a parking lot that already has DC fast chargers. Like, what's the point? Yeah, maybe there's lines at EA, but like, okay. And here they are. Look, there's a Rivian charging right now. I want to double confirm, so we're going to come over here and charge. And there is a trailer pull-through spot, so I'm happy about that. Okay, good. We're going there. At the mall, adventuring. Now you could say, well, we're at the base of the mountains and you can go up there, but there's chargers already along the front range-ish of the mountains. There's Estes Park has DC fast chargers. Breckenridge near Frisco, well, Frisco has DC fast chargers. So like everything along that plane you can kind of get to easily. Where I want to see Rivian put chargers are in the difficult places to put chargers. That's what sold me on the network originally. And yeah, I don't know. Where are the EA chargers? I think if we go here, network, Electrified America, yep, they're right over here. But it says 0 of 4 available, so maybe that's why Rivian put their stuff here, because it's full. Now, the Rivian network is currently locked to Rivians only. We'll talk more about that in the future. But for now, let's go drive around, go take a look to see truly if that EA site is completely full. So we are now pulling into the Electrify America charging station, and as far as I can tell, the truck says 0 of 4 available, but there's only one car charging. So are the other ones offline, or is it bad data? Because the data that's being integrated into all of these cars sucks. I haven't found one good one. I mean, Mercedes and ChargePoint has a deal and they can't even get it figured out. So what's going on here? Electrify America, Electrify America. Let's go see if any of these chargers work, because I don't know, seems pretty crazy. I'll grab this. I just want to see if they say available, because if they do, yeah, there we go, ready, available. Let's take a look at this one over here. Ready, available. Okay, so just bad data being piped to the truck. So hopefully, I'm done asking people to work on this stuff. Like, this should be so simple. EA's got to provide the data. So either it's on them or it's on the Rivian backend. To the end user, it doesn't matter. It's a poor experience. Let's go over to the the Rivian chargers, which does have correct station uptime, because fully integrated obviously is way better than not. Because I'm navigating to the charger, I can't actually see how many people are there. Here's this, 5 of 6 available, 300 kilowatt max. We'll talk about that. Here's the camera back, thank you. In the reverse. And off we go to the Rivian Adventure Network at the mall.
Is that car even charging? Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, we're mall crawling right now. Hardcore off-road. And here we are pulling into the Rivian Adventure Network chargers. Looks like there's one other truck right there. So he is on 1A, 1B, 1C, and we will be pulling into 2B, I guess. And let's see how well this all works. Well, you now join us at the charging location, and I'll walk you through how it's kind of set up here in a moment. But first, let's take a look at the Rivian charging experience. Now, the last time we filmed at a Rivian Adventure Network charger together was on our Out of Spec Motoring channel. We were towing, we pulled into a towing spot, and it was great. But the activation method for the chargers has actually changed recently. Previously, they would use their own proprietary connection method. I don't know if it was through MAC address or through some other kind of communication to allow the charge to start. But I don't believe there was a way to actually link your charging session to your particular Rivian on the back end. Now they're using ISO 15118-2 for communications, and they're using a plug and charge type situation. So I believe they have their own certificate installed in the vehicle that's going to be communicating over through the charging. So I believe the activation time might be slightly extended for the certificates to process, but let's find out. Let's time it. So come join me over here. Huber Schooner cable, really short cables on these, of course, but they use the black cap. It's the newer Gen 2 cable, if you will. If we take a look as well, 500 amp continuous. It is liquid cooled, but it is not sub-ambient chilled. So in the port, we are plugged in. Let's take a look over here at the charger. It says just a moment. This one is free, stay adventurous. So they are not charging for charging yet, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Not charging money for charging. And still just communicating. Contactors just clicked. It says starting. Still waiting. Starting, just a moment.
Already has a glitch.
A little screen. Yeah, these screens are gonna need to be updated. We've seen a couple of these kind of busted. The one thing, there we are, charging 1 kilowatt and ramping 12, 20, 27. You can hear the pump screaming. Anyway, 200 kilowatts, pretty good. So let me show you how the site is laid out. So if you join me over this way, I want to go take a look at this pull through. So there's 6 dispensers in total, but there's actually only 2 chargers. You join me over here at the pull-through site, if you will. So as long as the parking lot is empty, you can kind of pull through with your trailer, pull right on up this way, and plug in your truck up front. Really a great site design. It definitely cost them more money. You can see they had to run the conduit under the pavement right here, but just an awesome installation in terms of how this is all laid out. So let's talk about a basic level how these chargers work. There are 6 dispensers for 2 cabinets. So each cabinet feeds 3 dispensers. It's basically a 300 kilowatt cabinet. I want to say 750 amps, something like that. And when one truck is plugged in, it can get the full power maximum. We still don't know what the max pack Rivian will be able to take, or really the specs yet, but at least on my truck, which is the large pack, the middle size, it's 221, 222 kilowatts is the most I've ever seen. And so the chargers can output that. When there's 2 trucks, let's say you're charging on 1A and 1B, you'll be limited at 150 kilowatts each, which I'd say is like the minimum acceptable amount for such a big battery. And then if there's 3 trucks, they limit to 100 kilowatts each. And if one truck is up top and starting to taper, they can do some extra balancing to shift some power to the other. The problem with this installation, and I talked to the Rivian folks about it when Salida was first going in, I really said, look, your 300 kilowatt cabinet is perfect for a dual output dispenser, having 2, a 1A, 1B, not really a 1A, 1B, and 1C, especially because from what I've seen at my limited time at Rivian charging stations, our Rivian owners don't know that they share power. And so the truck should say, hey, you're arriving to the station, plug into station number 2, any of the 3, A, B, or C, and you'll get max. So with software updates, Rivian software team proving to be amazing. I really hope to see some more integration with the trucks and the chargers to say not only where to go at a charging station, but also which ones to plug into to maximize the site power output. Speaking of the site power output, let's head over and take a look at the transformer. One of the hardest parts of building a DC fast charging site is actually getting the installed power capacity run from your utility. Now, I'm not sure who the utility is for this area, but what we are going to do is take a look over here at the transformer. And what we have here is a 1000 kVA transformer. So a megawatt of charging capacity. Again, with 2 cabinets, they're only using, 1000 kVA, small power factor differences. Nears makes no difference, this is 1 megawatt. 2 cabinets and there's only 600 kilowatts. So they have room to expand this site with another cabinet and still be well under their limit. They probably could actually go with 2 more cabinets and do site level power distribution. They could put a huge installation in here one day. So this is wonderful. So in terms of this site, it's really laid out nicely. The dispenser quality, the charger quality have been wonderful. We've seen reports through Rate Your Charge, a lot of Rivian owners checking in with the Rivian network. I can't think of one failed charging session. They've all just been amazing. Now, I'm sure there are some problems, but Rivian's uptime on a brand new charging station is almost unmatched except for Tesla. And it really shows that when an automaker is putting their name on the charging equipment and the software that runs it, they get it so right. And it shows that it's possible to get it right. Now, granted, all these chargers are brand new and they've only been out for, less than a year this network's been out. So all the equipment's new, it hasn't aged yet. We still need to keep our eyes on that. But Rivian's doing one hell of an amazing job with the reliability. Here comes an R1S pulling in, very nice. So it's a popular site, so maybe it is worthwhile to put the chargers here. I'm not saying it's a bad site, but what I'd really like to see them do is prioritize the adventure locations, put them in places so we can access more terrain with our Rivian. Up until this point, I don't believe any Rivian Adventure Network charger actually allows us to go anywhere we couldn't have gone beforehand. So I really hope that becomes a priority. It's hard to put chargers in rural places. That's why we want this network as Rivian drivers, at least I do. The next consideration is I really hope Rivian stops putting 3 dispensers to 1 cabinet. I really wish they would go 2 dispensers for 1 cabinet. It's more costly. You get less, potential power outputs through your chargers. The one way around this would actually be for them to go with more of a Tesla supercharger style, where they can actually do power cabinet sharing. So that would be site level power distribution across all of the grids. The way Tesla works, you have one 360 kilowatt cabinet feeding 4 dispensers. Doesn't sound like much, and it's not. But let's say there's 4 cars that plug in on one ABCD, but no one's on 2 ABCD. The second cabinet can actually feed power into the first cabinet. So the end user, it doesn't matter where you plug in through the entire site. It's just taking all the charging power available and shifting it from charger to charger. It's really genius. And Rivian could add a DC bus between the chargers and solve this problem instantly. The next thing is, it's still currently free. I believe there's going to be some sort of Rivian membership or some way to pay for charging, but that will be coming, I believe soon. They're going to start charging for these. I don't know what that all looks like. If you do know, comment down below. But ultimately, it's a new charging site, a new Rivian Adventure Network site. We're actually already at 50% capacity, and it's brand new. Everyone's coming to check it out, which is fun. And it's charging great. Let's take a look at our stats so far into this charging session. Still just sitting at 200 kilowatts, 195 or so. Would have thought we would have seen a little bit higher peak, but it's possible our battery was slightly cold. Let's see what it says in the truck. In here, screens are booting up. Nothing major. Just sitting along nice and happy. I should probably raise my charging limit slightly if we're going to stay here any longer. But there you have it, Rivian Adventure Network. Great to see more sites coming online. I told you I'd find you where to actually find new stations. I'll leave a link in the Twitter, well, a link to Twitter in the description below to a great Twitter account that's tracking the progress. It's called Rivian Adventure Network Tracker, I believe. And I'll leave a link to that Twitter profile so you can follow along when new sites go on, when permits are filed, when there's updates going. There was a long period of time, especially if you watch our friend Brandon Flash's channel, where, specifically in North Carolina, they had the power run, the conduit run, but no chargers or dispensers installed. It seemed like to me they were production constrained on these items. And now most of those sites are being turned on very quickly. Boone, North Carolina is now on. This one, there's one in Arizona. They're putting a huge... Anyway, I forget all the locations. Take a look at the Rivian Twitter page, that network adventure tracker. But good things happening here. More rural locations, please. We'd like to get our trucks out to the middle of nowhere, especially when we start putting all the overlanding gear on this and a trailer and some other stuff. It'd be great to have it. One thing Rivian is understanding is they are understanding that people use the trucks as intended, and they are putting in trailer spots. So props to Rivian for finally getting the network up and running. It's hard to build a huge nationwide network. We're seeing it here, but they are still working at it. They seem to be amplifying the number of new stations. I'd like to see a few little adaptations and improvements going on here, but ultimately they're all heading in the right direction. Reliability has been stellar. The locations are useful, but I'd like to see them, again, out in the middle of nowhere. And the power sharing situation. I'd like to see a DC bus between the chargers. Other than that, let me know if there's anything more you want to see in the Rivian Adventure Network chargers. The Broomfield location's online. Everyone seems pumped about it. And there's that. We'll see you on another one soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.